This is Healing at Soul Level with your host, Shawna Williams. Shawna is here to provide various forms of healing that are non-invasive, that promote relaxation and aid the body in naturally healing itself by using ancient healing techniques that have been around for centuries. So please welcome the host of Healing at Soul Level, Shawna Williams.
Welcome to Healing at Soul Level. I'm your host, Shawna Williams. Valerie Reed is CEO, owner of Chrysalis Healing Arts in Dallas, Texas. She is a trusted and experienced guide to delve into the weird and wild territory of dreams as a certified teacher of active dreaming, which is a combination of modern dream work and ancient shamanic dream practices. She teaches monthly dream groups, online classes, depth workshops, and weekend women's retreats on active dreaming in Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and New Mexico. She is a member of the International Association for the Study of Dreams and frequent presenter of annual and online conferences. Thank you for joining me today, Valerie.
It's great to wake up and have a conversation about dreams.
That's true. Because I have weird dreams like all the time. I'm not sure what to do with them. I just write them down and keep going.
Oh, that's wonderful. It's so important to keep a dream journal. I always encourage people to start trying at least to write down something from their nighttime adventures.
Oh, okay. So how did you get into, active dreaming?
Well, when I was in my mid-20s, I had an experience of a psychic dream that saved my life. And so it was what I would call a dream awakening that made me aware of possibilities available in dreams that I did not know before. And so I became on a quest, really, in myself to learn as much as I could about what exactly is possible to be conscious of and learn how to do in the dream realms. And that is what took me into connecting with the International Association for the Study of Dreams, which I've been a member of for almost 2 decades. And there I found an international family of dreamers from all persuasions. Basically, anyone who's interested in dreams and interacts with it in any way, whether as a professional or a lay person, which I came into as a lay person myself. Mm-hmm. And it was there that I met my mentor, Jean Campbell, who is one of the chairs for the International Association for the Study of Dreams. And then I also met Robert Moss while I was there at that conference in 2000 in Washington, D.C. And he was the first one to propose to me that I consider becoming a dream teacher. And I was like, what's that? I've never heard of such a thing.
Right.
Why would anyone do that for a living? And I am very passionate about dreams, of course, because it's personal to me. Having that experience of a dream that saved my life, it became a real central focus for me. And I began to understand that there really is a lot to learn about dreams, and a lot of it is really, really important for us to understand that we do have these abilities that can help us to dream the future and inform our lives better so that we can navigate our waking world. And so I teach people how to dream consciously and the kinds of things that you can do inside of your dreams, as well as I also was cultivating a practice of dream sharing within my own family, with my own children. And that's something that I did a very long time. And one of the reasons why I felt called to do that is because I felt like one of the best things I could do as a mother for my children is to give them their dreams. And so that became a central part of our lives as a family in terms of being able to communicate in a very deep and trusting way with one another and really honoring the imaginative abilities that we have and cultivating that in an intentional way. So that cultivates bringing more imagination and creativity into the world. And a level of communication that really is rooted in the soul level and deeply trustful. So that's a really beautiful thing to cultivate in a family situation. So I began teaching that to families about family dream sharing.
So you mean like after the dream, you get up and you discuss it with each other? Is that what you mean?
Yes, that's certainly part of it. Over breakfast every morning with my children before going to school, we would talk about what did you dream? And, from that, a lot of information, a lot of wonderful experiences come through. But then there's also, during the bedtime ritual of putting your children to bed, kind of creating the space that cultivates a safe place for them and encourages them to have dreams and inviting dreams in and the kinds of dreams that they want to have. And another important thing as a parent is that, learning how to deal with things like scary dreams that your child may be having and how to help them with that is a really, really important part of family dream sharing. And a really important tool for that, with not only with children but anyone really, is dream reentry as a practice. That's part of active dreaming that we, one of the core practices actually that we teach, and that is where you're able to send your intention back inside of a dream that you've had. And know what your action plan is going to be once you get inside the dream. So this can be very helpful when you're dealing with a scary dream and you may feel afraid to go back and confront something that you were experiencing in your dream. And I'll give you an example. When my daughter was 4 years old, she was having a repetitive dream of zombies were chasing her. And she was terrified. She was 4 years old when this happened. And so I suggested to her, well, why don't you turn around and ask those zombies, why are you chasing me next time you have the dream? And that's really all that it took for her to be able to do just that, because children are natural dreamers, and they're actually really adept at all kinds of abilities inside dreams. And we have a lot to learn from children, and when it comes to dreams. And she was able to do just that inside of her dream. She turned around and asked those zombies, why are you chasing me? And they said, we want you to turn us into butterflies. And so she did, and they flew away. And it was a very empowering experience for her, because she was able to resolve it through her own wisdom that was held inside the dream. And so asking the dream itself, what is needed in this situation, maybe in some way, to resolve it? What do I need to do? What is the action that needs to happen to change this situation? And so active dreaming very much has to do with working with the intention in that way of really trusting this deeper, wiser self that we are able to connect with in dreams. And in the action part, in essence, gives us ways that we can bring that wisdom into our waking life. So it's really quite magical, just like the dream.
I used to like to share my dreams, and I stopped doing it because I started hearing, dreams are more fun if you just experience them and not share them. So I was like, okay, let me keep that to myself. But we're going to stop right here and take a quick break, and we'll be right back. Hello, and welcome back to Healing at Soul Level. And I'm your host, Shawna Williams. Today, we're talking with Valerie Reed about dreaming with the ancestors, and the focus is on active dreaming. So she was telling us what active dreaming is, and so my question is okay, so this is actually sleep. At first, I thought it was more of a meditative state, but it's actually sleep. But is it because some people have more of a some people can remember their sleep better than others? Do you teach people how to kind of remember their dreams?
I do find myself having that conversation with people quite often, because I find that in the modern, hectic world that we live in today, this is a bit of an epidemic, actually. People are losing contact with their dreams, and they have a hard time remembering them because of this, for a variety of reasons. And this is a problem. When we lose touch with our dreams, we are losing touch with a vital resource within ourselves that deeply knows us in a way that we will not find elsewhere in our waking world outside of us. It connects us with our inner world and our inner wisdom, and our soul gifts. And those are unique to us. So if we are not in contact with that, how are we going to be able to bring those into the world? And so dreams are a path in order for us to do that, and that connect us to so many abilities in terms of our ability to heal ourselves and heal our lives, our ability to be deeply rooted in who we are and what we came here to do, even what our sole purpose is. So it gets pretty deep once you start delving inside of it. And I have had the experience of just having that conversation with people and presenting the opportunities to open up their dreams and ways to do that through the core practices of active dreaming, that it kind of opens up the dream gates for people and their dreams return, their ability to remember them. And I like to say that, when we pay attention to our dreams pay attention to us. So it's like a long-lost friend, that we're always connected to. So it's something we want to cultivate a relationship with inside of ourselves, right, by paying attention to it. And that includes things like incubating a purpose, for instance, of what you would like to dream about when you go to sleep at night. What is your intention that you set for yourself and your dreams? That is a really powerful way to connect you with your dreaming self and that deeper, wiser self. And your dreams, your dreaming self is paying attention, oh, she's paying attention to me. So, this is where we're going to go tonight. The dream maker will provide you with what it is that you seek inside of your dreams. And we instinctively know how to do this. Dream incubation is based on an ancient practice that goes all the way back to the Greco-Roman world of the ancient Greeks and Romans, and the ancient dream temples of Asclepius, the great god of healing. And we instinctively know that this is something that is important in our lives. Like, for instance, if we have an important decision that we have to make, right? A really big decision, you'll hear people say things like, well, I'm going to sleep on it, Right. They're not going to make a decision until they sleep overnight. And so that indicates that there's some information that we're going to be gaining by doing that, right? So we instinctively know that this is a thing, and we instinctively know to do that. And so that is really in connection with dream incubation. is incubating that intention for what you would like your dreams to bring you. And then, of course, the other part is capturing that and recording it and working with the information that comes through for you. And that's where, sharing dreams with others can be very helpful to help you further open up what your dreams are trying to bring through for you.
So what's the difference, though, between like lucid dreaming and active dreaming?
So lucid dreaming is a kind of aware, being conscious in your dreams, and very popular, which is great because more and more people are trying to be conscious in their dreams. That's great. Active dreaming is also about becoming conscious in your dreams, but also in your waking life by taking action based on what your dreams bring through to you. So it's not just about being conscious in your dreams, but it's about how can I take action to be a bridge between my waking and dreaming world. And also there's the shamanic part of active dreaming, which we have yet to discuss. And
my favorite part.
It's an important part. It's an important part of active dreaming, and therein kind of lies the difference. Because with shamanic dream practices, you are delving into the world where the animal powers exist and the ancestors, and learning how to connect with your spiritual guides and who your guides are and how to navigate the dream worlds and where you can go. So you're doing it kind of in collaboration with these instinctual and very wise and spiritual energies that also support your life, that are also part of your experience, right? Those inner realms of wisdom and spiritual realities that we interact with. And so it's really an act of surrender, to becoming conscious, Whereas in lucid dreaming, it's more about focusing on the dreaming body and, the technique of like seeing your hand and becoming conscious because you can see the hand of your dreaming body, or seeing your dreaming body slip out of your physical body. And then kind of like seeing the different things that you can do inside the dream world. And so that becomes more about controlling what goes on in your dreams. And to me, the ego is doing that all day long. And so when we're asleep, we want to let that deeper, wiser self come out.
Okay.
And,
well, I'm sorry, Valerie, we're going to need to stop right here and take a quick break, and we will be right back. Hello and welcome back to Healing at Soul Level. I'm your host, Shawna Williams. Today my guest is Valerie Reed, and we're talking about dreaming with the ancestors. We left off, we were talking about the shamanic part of active dreaming. So Valerie, I'll let you take over from here.
Well, yeah, the shamanic part of active dreaming involves bringing in the active conscious meditation of journey guided by the sound of the drum that's facilitated generally in a group setting. And so this provides a container to delve into the world behind the world and explore other realities that exist in the dream realms in a conscious dream state. And this is part of the practice that is very powerful because it's very accessible to everyone. That's one of the things that I love about dreams is the equality of it, because we all dream. And so because of that, we have access to these incredibly deep resources of non-ordinary experience is one way of saying it. And that involves things like working with the animal powers and also rooting us into these other realms of experience in the tree of life, where you find that you have access to places like the lower realm, which is a place where you can often find connections with the ancestors. And then the middle realm, which is a place of the realms of experience that are close to the earth and even parallel lives. And then in the upper realm, you find experiences that are connected with the spiritual energies of your spiritual guides and teachers. And so the animal powers are crucial in helping us to navigate these places in the dream realm. And they do that because they're connected with our instinctual nature. And they have this innate wisdom and specialized skills that are beyond our limited waking mind. And so providing the space of sacred energy powered by the sound of the drum to delve into these places in connection with the animal powers provides deep resources and reservoirs of healing and connection. And so these things can be also, anything that is experienced in these shamanic journeys can also be invited into experiencing in our dreaming world, our nighttime dreams. So this is a very effective bridge for people to learn how to be in a conscious dream state. And then they're able to kind of translate those skills into their nighttime dreams in a very powerful way, in a very natural way. One thing I notice is the accessibility of this work and how people seem to come at it in such a natural way. And as I mentioned, that is so crucial, that we have bridges of commonality where we can have common experiences in a very deep way. Because,
Yes.
for me, we see how, divisive our world can seem sometimes. So dreams can really provide that bridge for us, in a number of ways.
I have to let our listeners know that dreaming or doing the shamanic journey, and that's like one of my favorite things to do. And those drums put you in such a deep level of relaxation that I know for me personally, some people may think this sounds crazy, but I don't really care. I just have to say that.
Yeah.
But in my lower world, I have seen, now I understand where they come up with the Harry Potters and the trolls and the unicorns and because I actually saw those things once I went into that world, and I was like, oh my God, this stuff is real, because I've never seen a Harry Potter movie, or I just have never been interested in those. So I've actually never seen any of those type of movies.
Yeah.
But my dreams were very much too detailed for it to not be something there. I was like, okay, I have crossed over to another realm. And it was wonderful.
You're no longer in the realm of muggles when you're doing this kind of work.
No. So yes, people, if you want to learn about these things, it's just great. It's a really nice thing, but make sure, I advise you to go to somebody like Valley to make sure that you do this. And you, I still think there is a little bit of protection that you need when you journey. Oh,
absolutely. That's why important.
Yeah, and that's why I feel like people should go somewhere and don't just try and do it on your own, because I have met some unsavory characters that I had to get rid of. So, or at least tell them, you're not welcome here, because this is my world. So anyway, I just thought I'd have to put that out there.
That's so crucial.
Yeah, and you can use drums also just for regular meditation. It also helps you go deep. That's not necessarily journeying. That's just a nice relaxation. They kind of fade away and you don't hear them anymore. At least that's how it works for me.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I encourage people to do journeying, as an individual practice. Mm-hmm. Once you have, experienced the shamanic journey in a group, and kind of know the basics of the territory, as I mentioned previously, and kind of how to launch in a safe and effective way by having your animal powers there to protect and guide you. That's also really important.
Yes,
You
it
don't
is.
want to be out there wandering around on your own devices and kind of like get a little lost in the process.
Yes.
So you
Well, we're
want
going
to
to
have
stop
a
here.
reliable
We're going to
guide.
stop. Yeah, exactly. We're going to stop and take a quick break. Please stay tuned. Welcome back to Healing at Soul Level. I'm your host, Shawna Williams. Today's guest, Valerie Reed, is talking with me about dreaming with the ancestors and active dreaming. So, what I'd like to know is how can I use active dreaming for my benefit?
Well, that's a great question. I'm glad you asked that because there are so many different ways that dreams provide support for our lives and always come in the guise of wholeness and helping us and supporting us, helping us to navigate our dream life. And so, as I mentioned in the beginning of the program, how I had a precognitive dream that saved my life. That's a pretty concrete and specific example of how dreams can be helpful, as they can help you avert a disaster by knowing what kind of potential future you may be dealing with. And so it's really, really important to learn how to look for that kind of information in your dreams and how to deal with it effectively. So that's a really important part that we teach in active dreaming and it actually becomes part of our dream sharing process called the Lightening dream sharing process, where, one of the steps is called the reality check. And so in that lens of looking at the dream, you're looking for the details of the dream that could be giving you information about a possible future that could manifest. And it's not like it's going to be exactly depicted in the dream. Dreams are multi-layered, and so they can be, filled with metaphorical information, mythic information, in connection with, your guides and spiritual teachers and other realms of experience, and also have very specific information about something that's going to manifest in your waking reality. So it's, as you can see, or you may gather that it's not a linear process when it comes to dreaming. And we're not limited by time and space either. It's not three-dimensional, in the waking world that we live in. So it can expand our capacity to go beyond the limits that we deal with on the daily, and put us in contact with our creative daemon, which is our creative genius, and what it is that we want to create in the world, and how to navigate the things that we, come in contact with in our waking world. So, this gets into some pretty practical problem-solving skills, that can be found in dreams, but it also gets into, the possibility of connecting with, mystery and spiritual wisdom, and having actual moments of spiritual revelation, direct spiritual revelation, right? So we're talking about, a resource or a direct hookup with your spiritual, light and your spiritual ability to be transcendent, right? Also, dreams are not just about the individual, but they're social experiences. So they're places that we interact with other dreamers and other beings and other time periods and other places. So there is a tremendous expanse of possibility that we can become in contact with. And then one of my favorite parts of active dreaming is the incredible healing resources that are available in dreams. And that also gets into things like dreaming the future, getting the information of a physical problem you may be dealing with, that you may want to have information about what's the best way to approach healing in your own life. And we can also even provide information for others that, are close to us. And sometimes we get information on their behalf. So active dreaming really helps us to share this information that has an ethical and compassionate way of doing it without, giving somebody a dire warning that may have the opposite effect of what we're trying to do, if you understand what I'm saying.
Right.
So that's a really important thing to learn how to do also, is how to share dreams in an effective way that will bring through possibilities that are helpful. Yeah.
And I have a question. So, because I feel like, and maybe it's just because I don't understand, but my dreams seem to be cryptic, even though other people may understand. Like, I haven't had this in a long time, but for probably a month, I would dream that every time I'm in my dream, it seems like I was either looking for a bathroom, or if I'd find one, it'd be in the middle of the room at a party, or it would just be nasty, but it was always dealing with a bathroom. It was just always different situations. It'd be in the middle of a kitchen, a party or whatever. So yeah, that means something, but that's cryptic to me as a layman.
Okay, well.
So you teach people how to do that as well, or figure that out?
Yeah, with the Lightening dream sharing process, which is actually a really quick process, it only has 4 steps, but it's really amazing the kind of ways that you can open up your dreams in such deep ways in this process. One of which is encouraging people to, when sharing the dream, is to say it in a way where you provide all the details of the dream and tell it like a story, right? And so when you're sharing the dream, you don't want to get into trying to interpret it as you go,
okay.
and or edit anything out.
Right.
But you really want to try to bring through as much descriptive detail of the dream as you possibly can. This helps the person that you're sharing the dream with to go inside the dream with you, right? Just like telling a story would. And that's important. So we also pay attention to how you felt when you woke up from the dream, because sometimes the feeling that you have from a dream is different than what you might imagine it would be based on the narrative of the dream. So this is already telling you something about the dream by what you're feeling when you woke up from it. And it also helps you navigate through the dream from that felt sense and not really get stuck in the intellect, which tends to want to analyze things in a way that kind of sucks the energy out of the dream. So you want to open the dream up more by, working through that fluid ability that we have of feeling our way into the dream and what the feeling was inside the dream when you woke up.
Okay, well, we're going to stop right here and take a quick break, and we will be right back.
Okay, great.
Welcome back to Healing at Soul Level. I'm your host, Shawna Williams. Today we're talking with Valerie Reed about active dreaming. And when we left off, we were talking about dream sharing. So, Valerie?
Yeah, so the Lightning dream sharing process, as I mentioned before, has 4 steps. And we were talking about the reality check in terms of looking for precognitive information. So the next step would be, what do you most want to know from the dream? So that helps the person you're sharing the dream to kind of hone in on the place in the dream that holds the most energy, perhaps, for the dreamer, and to start to try and then bring that out through the dream sharing process. And so one way that that's communicated in sharing dreams with others, whether it be a friend or family or in a group setting, is that you would give feedback from the perspective of, if this were my dream, and then proceed to kind of give your experience, your intuitive perspective, perhaps, and the things that came up while you were listening to the dreamer share their dream with you. And then the last step is the action plan. And this is so important because it's not just about finding the answer to what your dream means. And there is not just one answer to that. As I mentioned, dreams are multi-layered, so they can provide information many, many times upon revisiting, which is another important reason to keep a dream journal. But dreams are meant to be acted upon to both honor the dream and strengthen the connection between the dreaming self and the waking self. And that's the transformational action that can help bring that dream energy into the waking world when we take action based on the dream. But it can also be related to something, as I mentioned, really practical in terms of problem solving. So if you're given that kind of information in the dream, you know exactly, maybe, perhaps, what kind of action will help resolve a problem for you. Those are the steps of dream sharing, and the more you kind of practice it and get into it, which we do in our groups that I offer a couple of times a month, where you have opportunities together with other active dreamers and practice this process. And I also have more information about the process on my website at chrysalishealingarts.org. But one thing that I want to get into about another important part of dreaming that I love, especially this time of the year, is dreaming with the ancestors. Because for many cultures, this time of year is a time of year when we honor the ancestors in the fall. And it's known as the time of year when the veil thins between this world and the other world of experience. And so it's a place where we can meet up with our ancestors for the purpose of guidance and healing, and becoming more rooted in who we are and those that came before us that have been successful at surviving and passed on not only those experiences through our DNA, but also we may find our spiritual gifts are passed on through our ancestors, or creative gifts. And then there's also a tremendous potential for healing, because the things like ancestral trauma, transgenerational trauma, that also gets passed on, and in the abilities that we have to track, the paths of the ancestors through our own blood, and multi-generational connections that we have to ancestors. We're able to find ways and pathways of healing ancestral trauma. So that's getting into transpersonal dreaming, the ability to dream on behalf of others, right? So when we're doing that, we're dreaming for healing not only generations in the past, but this can affect generations in the future as well. So this is a really deep and soulful way to connect with our dreams, and the kind of information that we can receive from our ancestors about who we are and even why we're here are available. So this is a time of year that I really love to honor the ancestors and invite them in to visit in dreams, which many people understand happens and have had those kinds of experiences, but may not have a way to even communicate it with others. So that's a really important thing, that we provide a space where people can talk about these kinds of occurrences of dreaming with their departed loved ones. And teaching people how to connect with their departed loved ones can, in effect, be incredibly healing, just to even have those kinds of experiences. And so that's really a deep focus of the work that I do throughout the fall.
Okay. So that's just a time where the fall is normally the time where you said the veil thins out more, so it's easier to do the dreaming,
it's a time of year that the ancestors are near.
Okay.
You have the holidays like Samhain, which is connected with my Celtic ancestors, and you also have Dias de los Muertos, which is also, another time that the ancestors are celebrated, and that as a time of year when they come to visit. Or, another way of saying it is All Hallows Eve, which is known to us, most of us, as Halloween. And so the portal is open, right? And so they come near and they come to visit their loved ones. And they may be off doing other things at other times of the year, but this is the time of year when it's important to honor the ancestors and connect with them in a very intentional way. And it really provides that connection. When we begin to pay attention to the ancestors, we find that their hand is guiding us in our lives more often than we realize.
Right. Well, we're going to stop, take a quick break. Please stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Healing at Soul Level. I'm your host, Shawna Williams. Today, we've been talking with Valerie Reed about dreaming with the ancestors. And so I'd like for you to tell people how they can get in contact with you, Valerie.
Absolutely. My website is chrysalishealingarts.org. And there you will find the services and the events that I have available. I have a retreat coming up in southern Oklahoma, October 26th through the 28th. That is for Wild Women Fall Retreat, and we'll be focused on dreaming with the ancestors. And we still have a few spaces open for that. And information is available on my website. And I also have a blog that really describes the kinds of dreams, exceptional dreams, and shamanic dreams that I've had. And my website for my blog is dreamsawake.wordpress.com. And I'm also going to be participating in today the Cyber Dreaming Conference for the International Association for the Study of Dreams. It's an online conference. And I'll be presenting a paper on stranger dreaming, which is related to dreaming about someone you have never met and then meeting them in waking life later. And so that online conference has been going on for a week, but it still has a week left, so people can still register for that. And the way to do that is through the International Association for the Study of the Dreams. And that website is asdreams.org. And those are the primary resources to connect with me. I do have a dream group that I facilitate on the second Sunday of every month at the Unity Church on Greenville in Dallas, where we practice many of the things that we talked about today. And then also on the fourth Friday of every month at the Garden Cafe in East Dallas, over lunch, we have a dream sharing group every month, which I'll be doing a little bit later this morning, today, at the Garden Cafe. So I invite everybody to come out and talk about dreams with me. And on the new moon and the full moon in Richardson at Prana Haven, there are shamanic journey circles that I facilitate at that location. And I do have a workshop coming up on Sunday called Altered Awareness, and it is about connecting with the ancestors and making an altar for your ancestors, an individual altar that you can help you bring that energy into your home. So that's going to be a fun workshop that we're doing on Sunday from 1 to 4 at Prana Haven in Richardson, Texas. So a lot of interesting and fun activities and events going on in the waking world with the help of dreams and active dreaming. Lots of opportunities to interact and learn about dreams. So I really hope that if it's something that interests anyone, they will reach out and connect with me, because I also do individual sessions with people, and I'm also available to do those over Skype for long-distance sessions. And you can find more information about my services on my website at chrysalishealingarts.org. So I really appreciate the invitation to visit with you today, Shawna.
Thank you.
And I really enjoyed our conversation about dreams. And I hope that we will connect in the dream world or in a dreaming sharing circle or shamanic journey circle soon.
Well, thank you for being on the show today, Valley. Okay, so to listen to this podcast and past episodes or to book services with myself, visit my website at indigo-qi.com. You've been listening to Healing at Soul Level, and I'm your host, Shawna Williams. Thank you for tuning in. Love and light.
This has been Healing at Soul Level with host Shawna Williams. Listen each week as Shawna will help you discover the different healing modalities and how to use them in your everyday life, right here on Shawna Williams Healing at Soul Level.